We got Rafael Devers in front of a mic again. Let's break it down. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin, and thank you very much for clicking on this video. Last time Rafael Devers had a media scrum, hysteria ensued, right? To the point where people are still almost every day talking about whether or not Rafael Devers will be the third baseman of the Red Sox. And obviously, this means that Rafael Devers at some point was going to have to follow up on that. Well, we got our follow-up just yesterday, and we're going to break it down quote by quote, piece by piece here and what it means for Boston. But before we get into that, just a heads up, we are going to be live tonight right here on this channel, 7 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to be talking about all the latest goings on with the Red Sox and spring training and what to look forward to in 2025. Going to be a ton of fun. Again, that's tonight at 7 p.m. Now back to the actual video itself. Okay, so this is a little bit of a different style of video because it's not breaking down an immediate reaction to a live media scrum from Rafael Devers. This instead was a conversation held by Chris Cotillo and Rafael Devers at his locker room, which was then put into an article online. I will link the Chris Cotillo article in the description if you guys want to read the full thing, but we're going to go through this just simply quote by quote and break down what Rafi said, starting with the very first quote in this article, which is Rafi talking about his feelings of that media scrum. I feel like I said everything I needed to say that day. I still feel the same way. Now, obviously, this is all through translation, but good, right? Rafael Devers should absolutely still feel the same way. In fact, I want him to feel the same way. Your star player, your $300 million man, the guy that you invested a decade's worth of confidence in, should be confident in himself. He should want to fight for his position and just simply not roll over and die the first time a competent third baseman comes into camp, right? Every single player on this team should feel as though they are good enough to have a starting position on the field with the Boston Red Sox, but specifically, your $300 million man should be a little bit more confident in his ability than everyone else. So I have absolutely no problem with him wanting to feel the same way. I don't think anyone should have a problem with Rafael Devers feeling the same way about what he said in his press conference. Moving on to the next quote here. Quote, "I'm not frustrated. I don't have the need to be frustrated about anything with anybody. My family is good. My kids are good. I have no reason to be frustrated about anything. I don't listen to what's said. I don't pay attention to what's said. I just know what I'm capable of, and I'm happy being this way." Again, you want your star player confidence. Something that immediately stands out to me as we're sort of going through these quotes and as we get through this article, something that you'll pick up on as well, is that the answers to these questions, they're much more thought out. They're much more calm and collected. They're much more put together thoughts. I think a big reason for that is because he doesn't have to answer 1,000 questions at the same time, but 2, questions that are kind of triggering, right? You would get upset too at your job if someone was like, "Hey man, if you don't have the position you have, are you going to want to leave?" You're going to be like, "What? I haven't even moved positions yet. Why are we talking about this?" Or your weight and stuff like that, right? Obviously, Rafael Devers getting bombarded with questions about third base is going to be a little bit flustering, but on top of that, you also had to answer questions about being traded and questions about how much you weigh coming into spring training. Obviously, your answers in a more controlled setting, in a setting where he has less of a kind of spotlight on him as he's answering these questions, are going to be a bit more thought out. And again, you go back to, I want my star player feeling good and feeling confident in their abilities, and that's exactly what we're getting in this second Rafael Devers quote. Third one here, "I don't really know why this is becoming such a big story," he said. "We're a team and we communicate with each other. I think the most important thing is for us to have a good chemistry together. Like I've always said since day one, the most important thing for me is that we win. That's where I stand." I gotta tell you, despite every radio station, despite national podcasts, everyone's saying, is there good chemistry within the Boston Red Sox? This is now what, the 5th or 6th player to come out and say, no. You guys are making this a story. We have no problem with this in the clubhouse. And you know what? I kind of believe them, right? Obviously, they're not going to come out and they're not going to say, "Boy, things are not good in there. Let me tell you," right? They're not going to say that. They're obviously going to say things are fine regardless of whether or not things are actually fine. But I'm starting to believe these guys, right? You got Giolito, you got Duran, you got Bregman on Section 10. Now you got Rafael Devers, and they're all saying very similar things. Our goal is to win. Our goal is to compete. They are on a same wavelength, despite what every radio station gives you a segment somewhere, somehow during the day is saying, right? It feels like this is sort of the media versus the players right now, when in reality, there isn't really any sort of issue going on in the clubhouse. And again, yes, I understand that they are going to be told to say that things are good, even if things are bad. But if you take a look at every single person's individual quote, it doesn't feel like someone who's just trying to manufacture something. It doesn't sound like someone who's coming in here, having a PR person come in here and say, you have to say this when asked this question, right? Each individual person has answered it in a different way, but it all ends at the same thing. We are all trying to win, and that's a very good thing if you're a fan of the Boston Red Sox. Even Alex Cora is coming out here and saying that Bregman and Devers are working together at third base. Bregman's over there giving Rafael Devers pointers while we sit here and we go, oh my God, do they hate each other? Is this a problem chemistry-wise? What's going to happen to the Red Sox if their clubhouse is a mess, right? It just feels like the media itself has really blown this out of proportion, when in reality, looking at just the overall vibe of this team, it's much higher than people would lead you to believe. And speaking of Alex Cora, that's sort of the focus of this next quote, because Rafi talks about his relationship with Alex Cora. Quote, "We're a team. Alex is my manager. He's someone I respect a lot. He's not an enemy of mine. I have the discipline necessary that if I'm not feeling right, I could talk to Alex and communicate that. This is a team and we have one goal." I don't think the relationship between Rafi and Cora was ever in question. If it was, I just simply don't. I question you as to whether or not you really know what's going on with this team, right? Rafi and Cora have been together in the Boston Red Sox organization since both of them got here. It was essentially Cora comes in, Rafael Devers comes up, and they've been together ever since. I think there's a pretty strong established relationship there between Cora and Rafi. I would have been dumbfounded, right, if Rafael Devers came out and was like, oh yeah, that guy, yeah, we don't spend that much time together. I mean, they were at barbecues over at Alex Cora's houses. They communicate during the offseason. These are two people who have grown together in the Red Sox organization on the big league team. Of course they're going to have a good relationship. One other thing I want to point out right now is, yeah, it's pretty clear that at some point someone in media got to Rafi and said, look, say what you want, be who you are, which is great, but let's bring it all back to one centered point here, and that is that we're a team and we are trying to win, right? Every sort of question that he's asked here has to do with his abilities and has to do with the team winning, which again, a good thing, right? You want that sort of culture in this clubhouse. You want all of these guys to think what they want to think and be who they are, because that is important at the end of the day, but also have that common goal. And if you get everyone on that page for that common goal, you're going to be put in a really good place, whether that's by a PR team, whether that's by guys like Bregman and Cora and Story and whoever in that clubhouse cultivating that relationship. Doesn't really matter. What matters at the end of the day is that this team is all on the same page. And again, despite what people may lead you to believe, Rafael Devers is on that page with everyone else. He just wants to be on that page at third base, and he has every right to want to do that. The last quote in this article is kind of a long one, but it might be my favorite Rafael Devers quote in this article. Quote, "I know the kind of player I am. I know what I can do on both the offensive side of the ball and also on defense. I don't know why it's such a big deal. I know what I can do. I'm confident in what I can do. I don't need to be enemies with anybody. I'm a ball player. I don't have to take any type of pressure from anybody or the media. I know what my talent is. The thing about me that makes me who I am is that I like to have fun. I like to smile. I like to play this game. It's important to mention it is a game at the end of the day. I know I'm really good at this game." Hell yes, Rafael Devers is good at this game, right? The people... For some reason, people who disagree with the comments Rafael Devers made have put Rafael Devers in this bucket of he's an unworthy player of this contract, that he doesn't deserve the money, that he's not a good player for the Red Sox, and I don't know where that's coming from, if we're being totally honest, right? Rafael Devers, when healthy, is one of the top 25, maybe 15 best hitters in Major League Baseball. And if you don't believe me, go look at where he sat stat-wise when he was healthy last year. He was a top 10 OPS in baseball. He was a top 10 OPS plus in baseball. He was a top 10 slug in baseball. This dude crushes baseballs for a living. It's why they paid him $300 million. And if he was on any other team in Major League Baseball, they probably... Let me rephrase that. Any other team in Major League Baseball that spends money regularly, they would have given him $300 million as well. The fact that there are fans out there who sit there and say Rafael Devers wasn't worth the contract or he's not a very good player, either haven't been paying attention to this team since Mookie Betts got traded, which valid, but that also doesn't really give you the right to judge Rafael Devers over the last 4 years if you haven't been watching, or two, want it to fit their narrative because they don't like what Rafael Devers said to the media. Those are two different things. You could sit there and you could say, I don't really like how Rafael Devers handled the first media session. You can't sit there and tell me or any other Red Sox fan who's been religiously watching this team despite their losing efforts, and convince us that Rafael Devers is a bad player. You just can't do it. Rafael Devers is one of the premier talents in Major League Baseball. He knows it, and he should act like it. He should have the confidence of one of the best players in Major League Baseball. And you know what I love about this particularly is that Rafi's still going to be Rafi, right? At the end of the day, regardless of where he plays, Rafi is going to be Rafi. He's going to enjoy the game that he loves, and he's not going to let media and talking heads like myself, right, get in the way of doing that. He's going to go out there and be who he is, and I absolutely love that at the end of the day, because who Rafi is makes him an incredible baseball player, makes him an incredible person to root for, and you guys, again, should want Rafael Devers doing exactly that. So, much different conversation from Rafael Devers this time around. Here are my kind of congregated thoughts here. One, I think this might be a bit overblown. Yes, I think that could have been pulled out if you'd just been paying attention over the last couple of weeks, but Rafi doesn't seem to really have a true issue with where he stands with this team. Bregman doesn't seem to have an issue. Outside guys who aren't directly involved in this controversy that's been brought up over the first couple of weeks of spring training don't seem to have an issue with it, right? It doesn't seem like this is affecting the clubhouse, and that is a very good thing. Two, my stance, I think, remains exactly the same on this topic. Rafael Devers had every right and still has every right to fight tooth and nail for the position that he wants to play on this baseball team. It's what breeds competition. It's what makes guys better. And again, you go back to, this is your $300 million player. You want him to stand up and fight for where he plays on this team. Having him roll over and die would show that he just simply doesn't care. The fact that he is fighting, to me, shows that he cares about this team. He cares about the game he loves, and he wants to be in a position to help this team win. And those are all very, very good things. But I also think the Red Sox have every right to want to try and put together the best team on the field, right? I think that the Red Sox have every right to say, look, Rafi, you haven't been great defensively. You're an amazing bat. You've been injured last year because of stuff that happened on the field. We want you to anchor this lineup. We need you to be a DH, right? They have every right to do that as well. Both sides are in the right here, and I think people are portraying this as you got to pick a side. It's Rafi versus the Red Sox, and that's not exactly how this is going, right? If you combine the vibes check that has been going on with this team this spring and where the Red Sox are at right now, it's sort of, you can be on Rafael Devers' side and understand why the Red Sox are doing this. You don't have to pick a side. It isn't one of those things where you're either right or you're wrong. Right now, including Rafael Devers, everyone is sort of on the middle of this. And the third thing that I want to sort of conclude this video with is that at the end of the day, Rafael Devers does not make the decisions for this team. Everyone can sit there and they can pick a side and they can say, Rafi has no right to do this. One, Rafi has every right to do this. Two, Rafi doesn't control the lineup every single day, and ultimately, I think at the end of the day, Alex Cora is going to do what's best for this team to put themselves in a winning position. I got to be honest with you, I have full confidence in Alex Cora being able to do that, and I think you guys should as well. So, let me know in the comment section down below, what do you guys think about all this? What do you think about the second conversation with Rafael Devers about this third base thing? Has your opinion changed at all with this conversation on Rafael Devers? Has your opinion changed at all in general? And what do you think happens at the end of the day? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Just simply helps out a ton, and it's the best way to let me know you're enjoying the content. Don't forget, if you guys want to listen instead of watch these episodes, the best way to do that is to head over to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.